So I am a huge football fan. I'm a diehard Minnesota Viking fan. Yes, I know. Make fun of me all you want. I grew up with it. I know we're cursed. Just once in my lifetime, please. One Super Bowl win. That's all I asked for. Anyway, today I am at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Omaha, Nebraska. I am visiting the grave and final resting place of one of the greatest running backs to ever play on the gridiron, a legendary Chicago Bear, number 40, Gale Sayers. Now, like I said before, I'm a diehard Minnesota Viking fan, but I respect to the fullest the players that go out there and give it their all and their best and leave a legacy and a mark in sports history. And Gale Sayers was definitely one of them. So let's go find him and pay our respects to a legend. So located in section 17 Peace, plot 56, grave 4, is the legendary number 40 Gale Sayers of the Chicago Bears. Raised here in Omaha, Nebraska, Gale graduated from Omaha Central High School, where he starred in football and track and field, setting a state long jump record of 24 feet and 10.5 inches as a senior in 1961. After high school, he decided to play college football at the University of Kansas. During his Jayhawks career, Sayers would rush for 2,675 yards while gaining a Big 8 conference record of 4,020 all-purpose yards. He would be recognized 3 times as a first-team All-Big 8 selection in his sophomore year. Sayers would lead the Big 8 conference and third in the nation with 1,125 yards, and his 7.1 yards per carry average was the highest of any player in the NCAA that season. In 1963, Sayers set a NCAA Division I record with a 99-yard run against Nebraska and would finish that year once again leading all rushers in the Big 8. He would earn first-team All-American recognitions from various sports associations, and his senior year in 1964, he finished the year with 633 rushing yards, which was third among Big 8 rushers, and he caught 17 passes for 178 yards while returning 7 kickoffs for 193 yards and once again earning first-team All-American honors. Gale Sayers was drafted in the 1965 NFL Draft with the 4th overall pick of the first round by the Chicago Bears. In his rookie year, Sayers scored an NFL record 22 touchdowns, 14 of them rushing, 6 receiving, and 2 on punt and kickoff returns, gaining 2,272 yards, all-purpose yards, which was a record for an NFL rookie, and 1,371 yards from scrimmage. Sayers averaged 5.2 yards per rush, 17.5 yards per reception, 14.9 yards per punt return, and 31.4 yards per kickoff return. In a game against the Minnesota Vikings, of course, Sayers would carry the ball 13 times for 64 yards and 1 touchdown, caught 4 passes for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he had a 98-yard kickoff return touchdown. He was the last NFL player to score a rushing, receiving, and kickoff return touchdowns in the same game until over 50 years later, Tyreek Hill would accomplish this feature in 2016. On December 12th, during a muddy game which was played at Chicago Cubs Wrigley Field against the San Francisco 49ers, Sayers would account for 326 total yards in the game, 113 rushing, 89 receiving, and 134 on punt returns, defeating the 49ers 61-20. This game, Sayers would score 6 touchdowns, tying Ernie Nevers and Dub Jones' record for touchdowns in a single game. In 1966, his second season, Sayers would lead the league with 1,231 yards, averaging 5.4 yards per carry, with 8 touchdowns, and becoming the first Chicago Bears halfback to win the rushing title since 1949. Also leading the Bears in receiving with 34 catches, 447 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Also surpassing his rookie season's kick return numbers, averaging 31.2 yards per return and 2 touchdowns. Also recording more all-purpose yards total from his rookie season, with 2,440 yards, setting an NFL record. In 1967, Sayers would share halfback workload duties with other backs such as Brian Piccolo. Sayers would gain 880 yards with 4.7 average yards per carry. His receptions were down as well. In 1968, in a game against the Green Bay Packers, boo, he recorded the most productive rushing yardage game of his career with 24 carries for 205 yards. The following week against the 49ers, Sayers' season would be ended prematurely when he tore several ligaments in his right knee, including his ACL, MCL, and meniscus. At the time of his season-ending injury, Sayers was leading the league in rushing yards through the first 9 games with 856 at the end. Sayers would go through physical rehab, and despite missing the last 5 games of the season, he earned first-team All-Pro recognition. In 1969, after a slow start with diminished speed and acceleration, Sayers led the league in rushing with 1,032 yards, and he would move into the second place on the Bears' all-time rushing list, passing Bronco Nagurski. He was also recognized as the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. In his 4th and final Pro Bowl appearance, Sayers was the West's leading rusher and receiver, and for the 3rd time he was named the back of the game. In the preseason of 1970, Sayers suffered a second knee injury and underwent surgery, ending his season. He attempted to come back in 1971, but he injured his ankle and ultimately caused him to miss the remainder of the season. Sayers' last NFL game was played in the 1972 preseason, fumbling twice in 3 carries, and would eventually retire from the NFL days later at age 29. Sayers' playing style and ability as a runner in the open field was considered unmatched, possessing raw speed and was highly elusive with terrific vision, a combination that made him very difficult to tackle. His quick acceleration would become a trademark of his running style, but due to injuries, he relied more on tough running and engaging tacklers for extra yards. Starting in 1967, Sayers became teammates, roommates, and later friends with halfback Brian Piccolo. Piccolo had been diagnosed with embryonal cell carcinoma, which formed into a large tumor in his chest. Their friendship was the inspiration for the 1971 movie made-for-TV Brian's Song. In the movie, Sayers was portrayed by Billy D. Williams, and Piccolo was portrayed by James Caan. They were devoted friends and deeply respected each other. Piccolo would help Sayers through rehab with his injuries, and Sayers would remain by Piccolo's side throughout his illness until his death in 1970. After his football career, Sayers would work in the athletic department at the University of Kansas for 3.5 years, later taking the position of athletic director at Southern Illinois University Carbondale in 1976. In 1984, Sayers founded Crest Computer Supply Company, which under Sayers' leadership, the company consistently grew and was later renamed Sayers 40 Incorporated. Sayers and his wife were active in philanthropics, supporting many foundations in the Chicago area and the state of Illinois. In 2009, Sayers would join the University of Kansas Athletic Department staff as Director of Fundraising for Special Projects. Sayers would repeatedly sue the NFL in 2013, claiming the league neglectfully handled his repeated head injuries during his career. The lawsuit would claim that he suffered headaches and short-term memory loss since retiring. It was said that he was sent back into games after suffering concussions, and the league did not protect him. But the lawsuit was withdrawn after Sayers claimed it was done without his permission. The real reason that it was withdrawn was due to other litigations that Sayers was involved in at the time. A new lawsuit was filed in 2014 by Sayers and was finally settled in 2017. In 2013, Sayers was diagnosed with dementia that was likely caused by the concussions from his career. While remaining in physically good health, his dementia affected his mental health and memory. Gale Sayers passed away on September 23, 2020 at the age of 77. His legacy and honors include His record 22 touchdowns in a season, which was broken in 1975 by O.J. Simpson with 23. Until 2020, Sayers was the last player to score 6 touchdowns in a game. Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints would become the second player. Sayers' rookie record of 2,272 all-purpose yards was broken in 1988 by Los Angeles/Oakland Raiders wide receiver Tim Brown, who gained 2,317 yards through 16 games. His single-season all-purpose yards record of 2,440, which was set in 1966, was broken in 1974 by New England Patriots halfback Mac Herron, surpassing it by 4 yards. Sayers was inducted into both the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1977, becoming the youngest inductee in NFL history. His number 48 is one of only 3 retired by the University of Kansas Jayhawks football team, and in 1994, his number 40 jersey was retired by the Bears, along with number 51, worn by teammate and one of the greatest defensive hard hitters of all time, Dick Butkus. The Pro Football Hall of Fame named Sayers to its NFL 1960s All-Decade team. He was also selected to the NFL's 50th, 75th, and 100th anniversary all-time team. In 1999, Sayers was ranked 22nd by the Sporting News list of the 100 greatest football players. In 1969, he was named 1969 NFL Comeback Player of the Year, 1965 NFL Rookie of the Year. He was a 5-time first team All-Pro. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL rushing yards leader in 1966 and 69, the 1965 NFL scoring leader, the 1970 George Halas Award winner, 100 greatest Bears of all time, 2-time consensus All-American in 1963 and 1964, and a 3-time All-Big 8 1962 to 1964. His career NFL statistics include 4,956 rushing yards, 5 yards per carry on the rushing average, 39 rushing touchdowns, 112 receptions, 1,307 receiving yards, 9 receiving touchdowns, 3,172 return yards, and 8 return touchdowns. Sorry if that seemed a little off. I did a lot of typing in my own words of facts and numbers. It was a lot to read. But in my opinion, Gale Sayers is definitely one of the greatest running backs. Even though he had a short career, he definitely gave it his all on the field whenever he could. And like I said, I'm not a Bears fan, but I have mad respect for every single player that comes out and puts it all on the gridiron, gives it their best to make sure that their team wins. I'm just hoping that someday my Vikings will win, but we'll see. We will see. Now, I'm obviously way too young to remember him playing, but I have watched highlights of him, and he was just a speedy, elusive running back. He couldn't be tackled. He couldn't be tackled, and defenses feared him. I can only imagine what it could have been like, what would have happened if his career had been longer. He would have set more records probably, obviously. So, that being said, this is Codeman's Travels, coming from Forest Lawn Cemetery in Omaha, Nebraska, reminding you to always travel, experience, live. Thank you.